It's E3 season once again, ladies and gentlemen. And since Nintendo had their press conference earlier today, I feel not obligated, but I feel like I will do a little assessment of some of the games that they presented. None of them were Pokemon, so God forbid I'm going to have to talk about Metroid and Mario again. But whatever, you'll have to live, whatever. Anyway, first things first, this isn't necessarily in order they were announced, but just kind of a random order. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which is a sequel to the DS game from a couple years ago. I never actually played it, but Lyco liked it a lot, so good for him. I do notice co-op, since Mario and Luigi are running around on screen simultaneously, so I can dig that. Like, I can play together, and it would be pretty cool. I do wonder if it will use, like, the NES control scheme that, like, Super Paper Mario used, or it'll be a kind of a motion control abuse, which I kind of prefer the NES control scheme for, like, 2D side-scrolling kind of bits. But I'd accept it either way. And the toads, those toads that I saw, I really hope those aren't for third and fourth player characters, because they're toads, they're generic. You have Mario and Luigi for player 1, player 2, it seems pretty lazy for just toads for 3 and 4. I mean, use Wario and Peach for all I care. I don't really care as long as they're predefined actual characters that we give a shit about, not just random toads. The levels and enemies ideas, they're clever and look interesting, but they're nothing incredibly groundbreaking. So, this game seems relatively solid, probably not a Game of the Year candidate, but definitely enjoyable. Once again, riding on the Mario train is Mario vs. Donkey Kong 3, which was a sequel to 2 other Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, which in itself were sequels to Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, which was good, I guess, maybe? I actually haven't played the original. Played the 2 GBA games, didn't beat them, but played them while I was at Lyco's house, and he had them sitting around. And they were amusing. Again, not Game of the Year caliber, but definitely kind of pick up and play kind of games. So, it's alright, it's, again, nothing groundbreaking. Speaking of groundbreaking stuff that is no longer groundbreaking, Super Mario Galaxy 2 was also announced. That's groundbreaking in that it's the first actual sequel to a Mario game that's been done, like mainstream Mario game that's been done ever since back in the NES era with Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, with 2 not really counting. So, coolio. It's honestly an excuse to have the Galaxy outer space kind of hub theme. It's really not gonna contribute, except that it will have more gravity puzzles, which, fine by me. I really enjoyed the gravity puzzles in Galaxy 1, so I'm fine with it renewing. And really, the game is so schizophrenic, I don't think that the repeating motif will bother me. And it shouldn't bother you, geez. Secondly, with Mario Galaxy, Yoshi has made his unexpected appearance. Firstly, has different colors, which is awesome. It's like Sunshine and Yoshi's Story had different colors, but they didn't do anything special. With this, there was a light blue one that turned into a balloon, kind of like Blue Mario in Mario World. And overall, it looks pretty sweet. I hope they don't abuse Yoshi. Like, that's not this thing about abusing gimmicks and using them in every single level, like the Shadow Mario stages in Sunshine. But it's as long as they don't abuse them too much. I'm all for Yoshi abuse, but not in that way. And I would kind of like it if the Yoshi puzzles were possible without Yoshi, or would have a different path with Yoshi and without Yoshi. It seems like kind of... I hate being forced to use a power-up to get somewhere. I like it to be made easier with the power-up. Speaking of power-ups, there are several new power-ups. The drill, which looks kind of situational and gimmicky, but fun to use, since you can, drill through a planet. That's pretty awesome, geez. Then time slowdown, I think is what the grayscale was doing for that split second you saw it. One of those things that, again, I would like to be kind of optional, but masochists can do it without the time stop, and it'd be fun and cool. And then those purplish dark Marios that were following him around when he was tiptoeing, I have no idea what those are going to do. Maybe like a Pikmin-esque kind of thing? We haven't seen Pikmin in a while, and they didn't mention it at E3, so... Yeah. And then it also has the return of a couple old power-ups, at least the bee suit we saw in the trailer. And I'm hoping they won't rely too much on the old stuff, since, you know, if you wanted to play the old stuff, we'd just play the old game. But the freeze the water switch kind of replaces the Ice Mario gimmick, except for the waterfall jumping. So that's... I can see them kind of subverting some of the powers into different mechanics. Looking promising, I like where it's going. Shifting away from Mario, we've got Metroid Other M. Excellent... Well, we haven't seen a new Metroid game since Metroid Prime Corruption, so really any news is good news. Now the weird thing, if you didn't know this, is developed by Team Ninja, who made the Ninja Gaiden series, for at least the 3D ones. I'm not sure about the 2D ones. And that makes me kind of worried, honestly. Because the Ninja Gaiden games were difficult both by design, and they also had some kind of annoying programming bugs that made them a lot harder than they should have been. And that makes me a little uneasy about this one, especially because it looked very chaotic, at least in the trailer. That might have been to group viewers, but it looked very chaotic. And also the camera switching, there were some 2.5D kind of areas, and then there was first-person shots where she's like freezing the tentacle or whatever that was. So I'm worried, is that going to be a manual change or a necessary change? And if it's a necessary change, that could kind of destroy the whole exploration gimmick, since, you know, the camera angle might either point exactly where you're supposed to go or completely obscure it, depending. And considering the Team Ninja's track record with, you know, mechanics. Alright, I haven't actually played the 3D Ninja Gaiden games. This is all based on, like, Yahtzee's reviews, whatever. But it's a concern. What I'm not concerned about is plot exposition. Plot exposition definitely looks sweet. It's giving us background information that was first alluded to in the Metroid manga that a lot of us haven't read. And a little bit in Metroid Fusion, which had like Adam Malkovich and stuff like that. Adam does appear in the trailer, and that is awesome. Adam is a kick-ass character. And according to the, at least Metroid Wiki and looking at the trailer, Samus has the upgraded Varia suit, which means it takes place after Zero Mission, but probably before the Prime series, considering, I don't know. So really, it gives a lot of room for, like, Mother Brain, who does appear. Ridley appeared briefly. Really, this is an opportunity to have a bunch of Metroid backstory with actual characters, which seems kind of out of character for a Metroid game, but I'm willing to take that risk. Also, who the hell is that black guy? And the blonde lady of she met, like, is it just a random lady, or is it... I don't think it's her mom, since both her parents died in the space pirate raid, but a lot of questions unanswered. I'm looking forward to seeing them answered. Golden Sun 3. I have never played a Golden Sun game. I don't know if the hype is worth it, but a lot of people really want to see Golden Sun revived, since last time we saw it was GBA days. So, good move on Nintendo's part, bringing that back, or whoever the developer is, I don't know. Kingdom Hearts DS, 358 by 2 days, or whatever it is, I don't know. It gives backstory to the Organization 13, what they're doing, I guess, in the time frame between Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2, since Roxas exists, but Sora's still in there, in the pod. Really, the only Kingdom Hearts game that I've actually played is Chain of Memories, which isn't really the best one to start with, I don't think, since, you know, it has the card thing, and that's completely gimmicky and completely unlike the rest of the series, and it doesn't really progress the plot because it's really a filler episode and everyone forgets what happens anyway. But whatever. I watched the Hellfire commentaries do the Kingdom Hearts 1 and what they've done of Kingdom Hearts 2 so far, so I get the gist of the plot. But watching the trailer, damn, that is crappy voice acting. You'd think they would get some good voice acting for the trailer. And also, Villain Black's story is cool and all, but none of the games currently announced are following Sora himself, as far as we know. So, there are 3 games out and none of them are progressing the plot. I'm kind of mad on this, but it's, again, good for fans of this series. And people were kind of outraged because the Cammy, or whatever her name is, a stupid head and introduced a bunch of shit that nobody cares about. Whatever, we got a bunch of good games. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Kingdom Hearts, Bowser, Mario and Luigi, Golden Sun, Metroid, Mario again, Mario a 3rd time. 4th time, actually. We got some good games out of this, and I'm optimistic. So this is most certainly an improvement from last year, probably not as good as 06 or whatever it was. But I would call this a success. So, I hope to see these games on the market soon.